Welcome to Dimple Dell Rec Center. This is a field where they play soccer and rugby and a bunch of other sports. And I have been using it all summer to run around in while barefoot. Today is going to be all about why I choose to go barefoot running sometimes. So today we'll get into why I like doing barefoot running. There's a lot of people who make content online about it. I feel like I've probably been interested in barefoot a lot longer than that content has been around. That sunrise. So on Mondays, most of the summer, I've been coming here and running, and it's usually after like a long run. So I'm using this as a recovery from my long run to change up my stride, to help strengthen my feet. All the benefits of running barefoot, but we're gonna get more into that today. That sunrise behind me, it's like blasting out. It's so pretty. We had a bunch of rain last night. It was all stormy. Yesterday we were coming home from swimming here and we got caught in like a 5-minute windstorm, and then it was like raining and it was like ah, and the kids were like freaking out kind of, but we just went swimming, so it was like we were wet already, so it doesn't really matter if we got wet again, but the rain was very cold. With a lot of the barefoot running content that's online, I feel like they're trying to sell the idea of running barefoot, which is all fine and dandy, but a lot of times those people are also selling like barefoot shoes or barefoot products. You don't have to sell me on the idea of running barefoot. I already know some of the benefits. Some of the things they talk about is like widening your toes, which is better for your feet. It's better for your arch. What else do they say? Shoes hurt your feet in that they take away some of the strength over time of your foot. I don't know if I've seen any of the benefits or the disadvantages of shoes or barefoot, but one of the reasons why I submit to the barefoot idea is from an unlikely source, which is actually from doing parkour. You see, in parkour, there's a movement in there that was leaning more towards minimalist shoes, and it's due to the idea of being able to land on something softly. If you have minimalist shoes, you're able to feel your environment better and therefore be able to absorb your impact, which with running is the same thing. If I'm in a heavy shoe and I'm heel striking, it makes it hard to be soft. Whereas if I can get on my toes, I can use my ankle and my calf to absorb some of that impact. That's the type of runner that I am. I run and I strike on my midfoot. I always just call it on my toes. I usually run on my midfoot no matter the distance. Now granted, when I'm really tired, I do get on my heels a lot, so that kind of depends on what you're doing. Trail running, it's a lot easier to get on your toes, and it really just depends on your shoe as well. But even in the most like cushiony shoes that I've had, which aren't super cushiony, the Saucony Omni comes to mind, I'm still able to get on my toes and strike that toe first and then drop to my heel. It builds strong calves. Jumping around has also helped build strong calves as well. So when I was in high school, I would run, and that was really when I started running more on my toes. I saw one of my coaches, he would run up on his toes, and for some reason I was like, that seems like a better way to run. And through a lot of work and some grueling calf pain, you know how shin splints feel? I would have that on a regular basis, but in my calves, which is a much bigger muscle, and it would hurt. In high school, I would say a phrase. I would cheer on my other runners. I would say, run on your toes, or run fast, run on your toes, and be happy. Because when you're running hard, it's hard to remember to be happy. And, but I would say run on your toes, and the reason for that was so that they could get up on their toes. When you're running fast and aggressively, you want to lean forward a little bit. You don't want to be backwards, heel striking. You're slowing yourself down. And by leaning forward, you're upright. You drive those knees. That's why they have you guys do like hill runs in high school. Hill runs are important because they get your knees up. They get you on your toes. And so I saw the benefits of running barefoot, at least in the way that you strike your feet back in high school. But it wasn't until like a year ago, maybe it's the beginning of this year, I was thinking about, why do I like barefoot running? I think it stems from, not from being able to run barefoot and be minimalist in running. It actually stemmed from doing barefoot in parkour and being more minimal in my parkour activities. I think I had that epiphany that just hit me, I guess, that I realized the reason why I like barefoot running is because of the other activity that I would do. So when I do come running here to Dimple Dell, I usually try to run for more than 20 minutes. Because after 20 minutes is when you really start to get into that stride of movement and you start relaxing. When you're on your toes a lot, you tend to be more like higher, like, what's the words? After a while, you tend to sink into like what your normal stride would be. And being on your toes, you're gonna sink into that more than if you're on your heels in shoes. And so that's one of the benefits of running barefoot, is it'll strengthen my feet over time and help me with staying up higher and staying on those toes longer. So that's why I usually try to go, 20 minutes is like the minimum. I usually try to go like for 45 minutes or longer. Usually they're around 45 minutes, that's when you start to feel it. Watch my feet as I run. I pronate when I run, which means that I run in stability shoes. If you don't know what pronation is, watch how when I strike my foot, my ankle rolls in, or like right below my ankle. So there's like a falling motion right there like that when I run. I don't know if you'll see it as much when I'm barefoot, but you can see it. I like fall inward when all my weight gets on my feet. So that's called pronation, and they make specific running shoes called stability shoes for that reason. So these are the ASICS GT 2010s, or 1010s, very similar to the 2000. These are a stability shoe. So they have a post right here, is what they call it, a stability post, where the foam is more dense here than it is out here, and you can usually feel the difference or see it. There's like speckles right here. They've been getting away from being able to see it, and ASICS altogether this last year changed the way they do this, but this has been the format for like Saucony and most of the other brands. That denser piece of foam makes it so that when you put all your weight into the shoe, you don't fall into the inside of your foot as much. The benefit of that is, as a stability runner, I have very flat feet, and because I pronate, it's gonna keep that pressure going into my inside of my ankles or the inside of my knees. In the past, when I didn't run in stability shoes, I would get a pain on the inside of my knees and also on the inside of my ankles from that rolling in. you have to remember that when you run like 4 miles, that's like over 10,000 steps. That's a lot of motion going into those ligaments and tendons on the inside of your body. And the purpose of a lot of running shoes is to straighten out your knees and your hips and get you in a better position where you can run longer. Now, as I've picked up my miles back in 2019, over the last 5 years or so, I've picked up more miles. I have noticed I went from a very moderate pronation to a very mild. And I feel like running barefoot is also helping with strengthening my feet and keep that from happening. Granted, I don't think that's gonna go away. I have flat feet. That's just how my feet are. So I'm just gonna have to work with it. I've never had any really big issues with it, and it's because I've been taking care of myself running in stability shoes. And that's been one of the big reasons why I haven't fully sold myself into barefoot running. And that is because I pronate. And so if I run barefoot, I'm still gonna be pronating, which could cause pain, which is not very fun. If you stability runners out there know about what kind of pain you feel when you aren't in the right shoe, it's not very good, because it's just an achy pain, which I was talking to a physical therapist once, not my own, but just somebody I knew, who talked about, I asked him, are there any long-term effects or like injuries that could occur from running in the improper shoe? And he said that yes, there is. You could cause extra stress on those things, which I've seen other people get injured where they've caused stress on an item, and then when they go to do an activity, they put a ton of weight or pressure into that item on their body, and then it ends up tearing or breaking or just pulling. Luckily, I've never had that happen with my knees or my ankles. So there is a risk of injury there, but that's one of the reasons why, again, I've been running barefoot, because it helps build up that strength.